Hello, you blessed creatures. This is Vix.
Hi, my chaotic monsters. This is Callie.
You are listening to Random Witchcraft.
Are they?
I think so.
I thought this was, the world-renowned, let's get, talking about, conjuring crows.
We could conjure crows.
We conjure crows all the time.
Well, today we're going to start off with something a little special and a little different. We're going to read you some cards.
It seems fitting with the subject that we're doing.
Now, on to the cards.
Mm-hmm. Hi, everyone. Today's cards are Blessing Fairy cards. The first one that we pulled today is the Blessing of Clear Foresight. The fairy gift is knowing what most likely is to come from the determination that we have. This gift has been given to you today, friend. For this gift, that is a long vision, the ability to see the consequences and actions taken in present, and indeed the outcome of decisions of the past. With this blessing of clear foresight, you may be blessed with the ability to see the long-lasting influence that you may have or choose to have upon the world. So, remember that you have the ability to choose your path, and not just your path, but influence other people's paths. The second card that Vix will read right now
The second card is card 17. A Blessing of the Green. The fairy gift of the green energy of the fairies. So your own fairy blood is summoned and stirred. The green is the flowing, life-bringing energy of the forested world, of the ancient ones and their loving kinship with the land. When you are blessed with the greens, you are taken into the memories of the world, so that you understand that you are a part of her, and that a blessed life is about coming into relationship with the green energy that flows all about us when we connect with the realm of fairy. It is said that those beloved of the Fae have green auric fields, wear green, or have green eyes, that they have about them the gifts of the green. And they are children of the fairies, as much as they are humans. You have received this blessing, so your own fairy energy, which lies within you, can be stirred and summoned and rise to expression, so that you can come back to a sense of being akin to the fairies and an ally to the natural world. When this blessing comes to you, wear green, encourage the growth of plants, care for animals, and tend to the flowers. Consider making a simple offering to the Fae, and your blessings will be threefold.
seems fitting with today's topic.
Yes, it does. Well, today's episode, we are going to talk about Ostara.
Or, many people don't know by that. Some people know it as a spring equinox.
It is the spring equinox.
Yeah, It has many different names depending on your practice,
Has some ties into Easter, and there's a lot of correlation.
Well, the biggest one is, the correlation of birth.
No. Ostara, which is also known as the vernal equinox, falls generally on March 20th in the northern hemisphere, September in the southern hemisphere. I think this year it's March 19th. of 2024.
Yeah.
And marks when the sun hits its zenith, the point on the celestial sphere directly over the equator. Each year, the time of equinox shifts about 6 hours, making it possible for the precise equinox to fall between March 20th and March 21st. Ostara is the official start of spring in the northern hemisphere. Whether you live in an area that is warm year-round, or in an area where the ground is still covered in snow when this date rolls along. Now, Ostara isn't just about chicks and bunnies, nor is it even really about the goddess Ostara, who gives her name to this festival. While Ostara is said to be a goddess of spring, fertility, and the dawn, there's truly very little information about her. Research shows that the first mention of the goddess was in the 8th century by a Northumbrian monk named Bede, B-E-D-E, in his 725 CE work titled De Temporum Rationale, a reckoning of time.
She's also known, the goddess known as Istori.
That is what I was saying, it's just I said it different.
Oh.
E-O-S-T-R-E.
Yes, it's more of her... pronunciation is more Latin.
One modern story is found regarding her other than the claim Easter is named after her, is a story of her. We are told that one day in the winter she found a poor, helpless, injured bird that was dying. In order to save the bird's life, she turned the bird into a hare. But the change didn't fully take place. While the bird now looked like a hare, it still had the ability to lay eggs. The hare decorated the eggs and then gave them to Ostara as gifts for saving her life. But where did this story come from? The story is actually based on an Ukrainian folktale that explains the origin of Pysanski, the beautifully decorated eggs. When I first read that part, the first thing that comes to mind is the Cadbury Bunny.
I dislike it at the moment because I had to stop myself from doing it.
Now, it is believed that the ancient Irish people, predating Celts and Druids, celebrated the solstices and the equinoxes. A large part of this proof comes from megalithic cairns built throughout Ireland. While many people believe the Druids built these cairns and henges, scientific testing and dating methods show these monuments and sites to be much older. While the Druids may have eventually used the sites for ritualistic or other practices, they were not responsible for their existence. A particular group of cairns located in Luchroom contains a passage tomb that is constructed so that the backstone is lit up by the sun's rays on the vernal equinox. The backstone contains astronomical symbols that are fully lit at the equinox, megalithic Ireland. While this may have been just some sort of elaborate calendar system, the astronomical symbols imply that it did indeed have a greater importance than just making one day of the year.
Furthermore, in the festivals, they had picked a young maiden to play as Ostara. And she would end up walking around and be given ember cookies that write old enough to bear children, but not a mother.
That's interesting.
And as she walked around on walked around till somebody has offered her a white stallion to carry her wreathed in flowers and carrying her cookies until she reached the ritual bonfire that she will toss in the flowers to start the springtime throughout the land. So basically, she would walk around, this chosen maiden would walk around the whole entire town receiving these gifts till they went back to the bonfire to start the festival.
Well, the ancients did love their bonfires.
Yes, they did.
It kind of seems like all the festivals were fire festivals.
They were, but in this one, the young maiden who was picked to play Ostara in the festival, if she was ill-manneredly touched by anybody, especially a male, there was dire consequences. And that was for a whole month after she played, because it was believed that the goddess came in her and couldn't leave for a whole entire month.
So the goddess came in her, but none of the boys can.
Uh-huh. I know you went there.
Yeah, but it was just the wording.
Yes.
Now, this time of year isn't... You're not just stuck working with just one deity. There are a few different deities that are actually associated with the springtime and this...
One being Persephone.
Well, the ancient Greeks, Dionysus and Persephone, were both celebrated as deities of spring. Dionysus, the god of plants, grapevines especially, since he did like his wine, was said to be in terrible pain throughout the winter months. In spring, his strength would return with the flowering of the earth. Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, who was goddess of the crops and harvest, was kidnapped by Hades. Demeter was so upset over her missing daughter, she was unable to tend the crops, which began to die off. In this story, Zeus sent Hermes to speak with Hades about releasing Persephone so that the crops would not completely die off and the people would be able to live. Hermes brokered a deal with Hades that allowed Persephone to return to her mother in the spring for 6 months. After her time was up, she would return to the underworld to live as Hades' queen each year. Demeter, delighted in the return of her daughter, ensures that every spring the flowers are blooming in order to greet Persephone on her return.
Or as Persephone's other name, Koroi. Koroi.
Well, other deities include Aphrodite and Venus.
Flora. Brigid. Home is a god.
Now, perhaps one of the saddest stories of a goddess celebrated in the spring belongs to that of the Greek Clytie. Clytie began her life as a water nymph who was in love with the sun god Apollo. In some versions of the story, her love is unreturned, and so that she sits forever watching him cross the sky each day. Eventually, her legs and feet grow into the soil and turn into roots. Her body takes on the form of a stem, her arms turn to leaves, while her face becomes a heliotrope that continues to watch the sun cross the sky each day. In other versions of the story, she is transformed into a flower after having sex with the sun god. Then you have Sibyl, Eos, the Roman Flora, Gaia, the Hindu goddess Rati, the Irish Angus MacGorg, the Celtic god Cernunnos.
It had Freya.
The horned god.
And Indu.
the Irish good god, Dagda, the Welsh god, Mabon. The Welsh god, Mabon, may already have a Sabbath named after him, but he is also a god who retreats to the underworld during the winter and then returns in the spring.
Frigg.
Egyptian god Min, Osiris, Pan, Thor. There's just a couple.
Like I said, it just depends on your practice, what part of the world you're in. You have your ways of celebrating.
Now, two lovely things for the spring that can cure the being parched.
It isn't taking a whole freaking pint of mead?
No. For as an adult beverage, you have a grasshopper.
I like a grasshopper martini.
Well, the grasshopper is served in a martini glass. It's literally 1 part cream, 1 part white creme de cocoa, and 1 part creme de menthe. Now, for the munchkins, you have 8 cans guanabana nectar, or guava.
Try to say that 10 times fast.
It's guanabana nectar, or guava and banana nectars separately. 4 cans of 7-Up soda, and 1 quart of green sherbet. My phone's a little crazy sometimes.
I guess you just didn't decide to, mute it.
Yeah, my phone is crazy. It is muted.
You didn't mute your watch.
Oh no, that was my phone.
So the fairies are just playing tricks on you.
Always. As of right now, we're recording in Venus time. It's the hour of Venus.
No wonder my brain's like, what can I do to freaking mess with people?
Well, now, for this lovely holiday, if you choose to decorate your house, or your altar, or your neighbor if you want to, some good choices of colors are yellow, orange, green, blue, violet, and pink.
That's it. You can only wear pink from now on.
And of course white.
Because on Wednesdays we wear black.
I guess every day's Wednesday for me. As you've probably realized, it is this time of year, and most of those colors tend to be a little pastel-y.
Very true.
You can live in your pastel goth phase.
I know, right?
I know you have a couple recipes you would like to share also.
Well, one is for a nice strawberry salad to share in the festival, or, for your gathering. You take a nice spring mix salad bag. You take some beautiful, gorgeous strawberries, slice them or dice them, however you'd like your strawberries. When you're preparing your strawberries, put them in the bowl after slicing them. Add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to keep your strawberries nice and potent with the color, and they won't wilt as quickly or go brown. That is a key trick to any fruit that you want to keep, from going brown after cutting. a little bit of lemon juice. Then you end up fixing your dressing for it. This dressing is a strawberry dressing vinaigrette. Get a little bit of vinegar, apple cider vinegar, about 2 tablespoons, with the 2 good big strawberries. Put them in your NutriBullet, or you can use your pestle and mortar and go at it. Create a nice little paste. And add the apple cider vinegar with a little bit of pepper and salt to taste, not a lot. And you can add some pine nuts or, food allergies. Go crazy. It's your salad, however you want. It's just, you end up having the fresh taste strawberries and the green salad. Nice, healthy. Getting yourself ready to conquer the day.
You also get a little bit of that tartness from the vinegar.
Mm-hmm. The other one is brioche bread, but you turn your little brioche breads into bunnies or snakes. You can make them either or to celebrate the Ostara. The other one is one that you have in the book that is for hot cross buns, I believe.
Yes.
And the other one that I have that I just lost the recipe for because I know how to do it by heart, and me explaining it would be confusing.
Now the hot cross buns, which ironically, it wasn't until a couple years ago that I realized that hot cross buns were actually food. I don't know what I thought they were, but either way.
I'll refrain.
The ingredients are 4 cups of flour, 1 package of active dry yeast, 1.5 teaspoons ground cinnamon, 3/4 of a cup milk, 1/2 a cup of vegetable oil, 1/3 of a cup sugar, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 3 eggs, 1 cup raisins. For the icing, you have 1 egg white beaten, 1 cup powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon milk, and 1 teaspoon vanilla. You combine 1.5 cups flour, yeast, and cinnamon into a large bowl. In a saucepan, with a candy thermometer, combine milk, oil, sugar, and salt, and heat it to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Once heated, pour the mixture into the flour mixture and then add the eggs. Beat on low to blend, scraping sides of the bowl, then beat on high for 3 more minutes. Using a spatula, fold in the raisins. Add in the rest of the flour. When it gets too thick to work with a spoon, pour it out onto a lightly floured surface and knead with your hands. Shape into a ball and place in a lightly greased bowl. Cover with a dish towel and let it rise for 90 minutes. Dough should be about double in size. Punch the dough down and place back onto a floured surface. Cover and let it sit for another 10 minutes. Divide the dough into 12 to 15 portions and roll each portion into a ball. Place the dough balls 2 inches apart on a greased cookie sheet. Cover with a towel and let rise again for 45 minutes. Using a sharp knife, make a crisscross onto the top of each bun. Brush each bun with egg white. Bake at 375 Fahrenheit for 12 to 14 minutes. While the buns are baking, mix up the icing by adding all the ingredients into a bowl and beating with a mixer. Add more milk if you need to thin it to drizzling consistency. Allow the buns to cool for about 10 minutes before drizzling the icing on top of them. That actually sounds very sweet and very good.
It is. One that you made me think of right now are the strawberry meringue cookies.
How do you make those?
You puree your strawberries, you take your egg whites, a bit of cream of tartar, and you whisk your egg whites, just the egg whites. After having them make not stiff peaks, but medium to soft peaks of the egg whites from beating them, you fold, not stir in your puree. You fold in it. After that, you end up putting in a piping bag to place and make whatever shape you would want with it. 325, 20 minutes or until it's a light golden brown on top. And those are your meringue cookies, your strawberry meringue cookies.
That does sound good.
And no sugar added, because the sugar comes from the strawberries.
I should probably say that the temperature was Fahrenheit. We don't know Celsius. Just in case you are in a place that uses that.
But
we are horrible Americans. We don't know Celsius. Now
162 degrees Celsius for the 325 on the meringue cookies. What was the hot crust buns?
I think it was 275. 375.
190 degrees Celsius on your oven.
That works. See, we learn things.
No, it's just called the power of the internet.
We still learn things.
Well, very true.
Now, since it is a springtime and is the time of new beginnings, here's a nice little prayer to the goddess to assist in new beginnings. This prayer is designed as a way to invoke the goddess and to ask her for assistance in dealing with a new beginning you find yourself having difficulty with. New beginnings are chances to start fresh, but they may not always feel that way. Situations like a divorce can be very painful, and you may not want to be starting a new life without your spouse. Sometimes we have no choice, and new beginnings are forced upon us. Other times we are able to make the conscious decision that we start anew. Those new beginnings are usually easier to cope with and to get the ball rolling. It is the changes we don't want to make that give us a hard time. This prayer is for those times. In this prayer to the goddess, feel free to insert your own specific deity where needed. It is Great Goddess, Mother to us all, Giver of life and creator of all things. Life has many twists and turns, and now I find myself on a new, unexpected path. In new path, I'm afraid to travel alone. I ask for your guidance and your loving, helping hand to support me on my way. I ask that when needed, you will lead me to the right direction and steer me away from the wrong turns. Help me to keep myself on the path and to not stray away, even when I am tempted. Assist me in moving forward and not in reverse. Comfort me when needed. Bless my path and the journey I undertake on this path. Encourage me in times of self-doubt. Protect me from those willing to harm me, even if it is myself. Embrace me in your loving arms, to give me peace and surround me in perfect love and perfect trust.
I'm sorry, I just had a... What are we in the circle?
Now the The information that I am stating is from Llewellyn's Sabbath Essentials of Ostara. Rituals, recipes, and lore of the spring equinox. Now a few correspondences. More like a lot of correspondences that are involved with Ostara or the spring equinox, depending on how you practice and what you feel is correct. Spiritual focus and keywords are balance, birth, change, fertility, growing in strength, light, new beginnings, rebirth, rejuvenation, renewal. Magical focus, abundance, balance, change, fertility, and growth. Lust, new beginnings, new love, passion, prosperity, and purification. Suggested workings, bonfires, creating outdoor sacred spaces and altars. Divinations focused on the coming year and bringing balance to one's life. Planning and creating fairy, flower, or vegetable gardens. Purifying and protecting the home and all who live there, including animals. Archetypes: female, goddess fertility, mother of the earth, the goddess in the forms of the maiden. Male, gods in the form of young, lustful man who will soon become the father. God of the wild, the green man. Deities and heroes, goddesses. Amalthea, which is Greek. Aphrodite, Venus, Greco-Roman. Blodwed, which is Welsh. Eos, Greek. Ostara, Germanic. Epona, Celtic. Flora, Roman. Freya, Norse. Gaia, Greek. Guinevere, which is Welsh, Arthurian. Liberia, Roman. Maia, Greek. Persephone, Greek. Rati, Hindu. Renpet, Egyptian. Umaj, Russian. Vila, Slavic. Now the gods. Angus Macog, Irish. Cernunnos, her name, Anglo-Celtic. The Dagda, Irish. Eros, Cupid, Greco-Roman. The Green Man, European, North American. Kama, Hindu. Mabon, Anglo-Welsh. Osiris, Egyptian. Pan, Greek. Thor, Norse. Colors: green, light blue, pink, silver, violet, white, and yellow. Herbs: broom, high john root, Irish moss, lemongrass. Trees: alder, apple,
Birch, ash
hawthorn.
are some of the trees. You got flowers going into it, which are dandelions, daffodils, tulips, violets.
Apple blossoms, crocus, honeysuckle, jasmine, jonquil, lilac, narcissus, orange blossom, primrose, rose, tulips. Silver for metal. Agate, aquamarine, and bloodstone for crystals and stones. The animals are kind of obvious with it being spring. Got bees, boars, butterflies, chicks, hedgehogs,
Snakes.
horse, phoenix, puka, rabbit, ram, and robin.
One good thing about this time of year, before you get to celebrating your, Ostara, is doing your spring cleaning. Cleaning your tarot, cleaning your altar. Clean your crystals. Embrace the self-care of the spiritual cleaning that you're doing on your altar, providing a new foundation for this year's magical work.
Now, several types of offerings that you could actually offer for this time of year, which are highly acceptable this time of year, are hard-boiled eggs, peeled, milk, honey, mead, spring flowers are the most common. For something sweet, delicious, and different, use a bowl of marshmallow fluff. If you have an outdoor altar, leave some of these offerings in the name of your deity as a thanks to them.
One thing to do that if you can't end up making a big festivity of it, go have a nature walk, take along some seeds for the birds, and sprinkle along your trail.
Be careful with wild bird seed. Make sure there's nothing in there that it can become invasive.
True.
And take over.
Or find in your local area of fellow practitioners. They usually end up having a big old picnic or games for the young ones, which is odd. I didn't know why people ended up playing, the tossing of the egg back and forth till it breaks. And it's meant to signify that on the person that it breaks, that's who the luck is going to.
Now, there are some alternate names for Ostara in other pagan traditions. Alban Eeler, which is Celtic, meaning the light of the earth. The Festival of Summer Findings, Ostaru, and a vernal or a spring equinox. You have Dionysus or Bacchus Day, Annunciation of the Blessed Virgin Mary or Lady Day, which is Catholic, Palm Sunday, Christian, the Sunday before Easter, Good Friday, Easter, my fingers don't want to work. Then you have Passover. A secular holiday is St. Patrick's Day. While originally the Catholic feast day of a saint, it is celebrated more as a secular holiday in the United States on March 17th.
Or as I like to call it, everybody's Irish Day.
Holidays or traditions occurring during Ostara in the southern hemisphere. The Feast of Jupiter, Juno, Minerva, is Nova Roma, Michaelmas, which is Catholic Christians, the Birth of the Virgin Mary, Catholic Christian, which is September 8th. Then you have a secular, which is Floriade, largest flower festival in the southern hemisphere. I think that might be as much information as we can give you today.
Yeah. We hit some good topics, some good information.
Now, stay tuned for one more little section where we give you a little bit more of a card reading. Talk to you in a second.
Now, these are the two other cards we pulled that are going to be our outro cards, are just a little blessing to leave you at the end of this episode, is the gift of sharing, which the fairies want to give you. The fairy gift of experiencing caring and generosity, of giving people and giving into situations, is something that we all should end up doing on occasions. The people who are willing and ready to share their time, talents, and their skills and their company with you should be honored and cherished, for you never know when there will be a kindred spirit found amongst friends. And you may end up getting answers to questions or an answer to a manifestation that you have had. And what's on the last card? There, Vix.
The last card. A blessing of connection, which is card 10. The fairy gift of interactions with the natural world and with humanity, where we feel we have a true place. This blessing is a fairy gift that is of deep connection and affinity with the world around you. There will soon be a new friendship or contact or being who enters your world and with whom you seem to have great and natural understanding. Despite your differences, this can be between two people in a bond crossing cultures, locations, customs, or between animal and human, creating warmth and love and beauty and companionship, or between yourself and the fairy world, allowing you to feel enlivened, strengthened, emboldened, and able to sense all about you their presence. When this takes place, you feel a true part of the planet and the world, and you feel a sense of belonging and being at home. With this blessing, you are so very comfortable and at ease for perhaps the first time in a long time. You are accepted and cared for, heard and truly listened to. And there will be friendly interactions when this beautiful blessing of the Fae comes to be with you. Enjoy the interactions and the renewed sense of being at home within the world of nature.
I think these card pulls that we've done for this episode have been on point. What do you think, Vix?
Of course, we're tapping into the fairies and all the Fae.
Not only just tapping into the fairies and all the Fae, but I think they've led us and our listeners to opening up our eyes and saying, hey, get back to your inner wild side. It is a birth of new beginnings.
That it is. And I've also determined that we were actually good today. We didn't go complete chaotic on everybody.
That can change in 2.5 seconds if you actually end up freaking poking monkeys. Squirrel!
Well, you have listened to Random Witchcraft with Vix and Callie.
Later, monsters.
We will talk to you real soon.